It's not helpful to Black South Africans that we support South Africa in this. This is nothing but a chess move. Of course, they're going to welcome us, but they're welcoming us and using us as pawns against the indigenous Black South Africans. Why would we want to participate in that?
Welcome back to the Real South Africa. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, and of course, share with everyone. See you on the inside.
All right. Lisa, go ahead.
Hi, Dynast. I think you're doing a great job, but I'm always the one speaking about us being indigenous Black Aboriginal Americans.
Oh God, Mark, how do you feel about? Hold on, Mark. How do you feel, Mark? How do you feel about the?
One other thing, Dynast. I'm gonna clear it up. But they're also from Africa. Okay, so there. Let's proceed. They're also from Africa. You know, the original indigenous people here before Christopher Columbus got here. But anyway, I am calling.
Oh, hold on, Lisa. Mark, are you an Olmec?
Olmecs are African.
Are you an Olmec, Mark? Are you an Olmec?
How do you mean? I know. I heard what you said, and I don't know your term, but
do you think you're an Olmec Indian?
No.
No, Olmecs were African. They were Africans who lived in the area of Mexico, and these are factual things.
Oh yeah, I believe all that. Yeah.
I mean, I know that Dynast knows better, but that's okay. I understand his position. But we're talking about South Africa.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a serious question here. I want you guys to consider. There's something that goes on in the United States of America with Black immigrants that come in from Africa, and there may be it's they're part of the whole brain drain process whereby you have a lot of intellectual Black immigrants that come in from various African countries from Africa, and they come to the United States. And from my understanding, as I speak to many of my peers, I really feel like it's a strategic tool that the United States uses against Black Americans to prevent us from being successful and progressive and block us from various opportunities. And this is why they use Black immigrants against us. And I feel that South Africa is utilizing the same method for divisiveness. Why should we support them when we know that us coming in and using our US dollar and the currency not being it's not a fair exchange? It's not helpful to Black South Africans that we support South Africa in this. This is nothing but a chess move. Of course, they're going to welcome us, but they're welcoming us and using us as pawns against the indigenous Black South Africans. Why would we want to participate in that? You don't see that, Dynast? You don't see that. You don't see that the whites here in the U.S. treat the African immigrants better than they treat the Black Americans?
Let me try to answer that, if you don't mind.
No,
I mean, I'm not articulating it in the.
I hear this. I hear this.
Yeah, can I answer that? It's a softball. You know, it's so funny. First of all, when you start talking about Black Americans coming to South Africa in particular and helping, and it's a trap and things like that. The first thing that you need to kind of think about is that, like I said, these guys are kind of looking to us in some ways for some levels of leadership, and we can easily provide that. But if we're trying to filter it through, well, the white man, then they would never get it, and it would be the message will never get to where it needs to get. Number two, when it comes to us spending our money here, I can honestly tell you that I know of tons of people, to include myself, many years ago, that would go to Mexico and spend all our money, and it doesn't help one Black person at all. Zero. It helps all the Mexicans. Or even when you go to the Caribbean, most of those nations down there are colonies of Europe, and a lot of those ties are still there. So a lot of that money goes to Europe. That helps the white man. But I will tell you here, when you come here, especially in South Africa, I can't tell you about every nation. I can tell you about here. When every time a tourist comes into this country who's spending U.S. especially spending U.S. dollars, you're actually, even if you're just leaving a tip at a table, or you're using this service or that service and so forth, you are truly impacting the economy down here in South Africa. That is without a doubt, and that's going to help those kids down in the townships. That's going to help those. I mean, it helps everyone. That's why tourism is such a big economic driver here, to the point to where if African Americans don't come, let's say African Americans just say, you know what, from this point on, we're not coming down there. The British pound is way more powerful than the U.S. dollar, way more powerful. Hell, even the euro, and they're going to come here anyway. They're coming regardless, and they're coming to a place where there's a possibility that something might happen to them because they're white, but they're coming to spend that money, and they know what they're doing. They're coming to keep this economy going because they want to come to a nice place. They want to be able to do these types of things. So at the end of the day, numbers wise, just straight numbers, it'd be great to have the African Americans coming here and participating and being able to find the opportunities and do all these things. That'd be great. But at the end of the day, they're not going to hold their breath and say, "Well, we can't move forward without them," because there are other people who are coming to fill the voids in that regards. So a lot of times, especially here in Africa, it's not about the white man. It's really not. But we keep making it seem like it's about the white man. Look, there's a white person, but then you go outside your home in the U.S. and there are white people everywhere. I mean, like literally everywhere. So that's kind of my take on what you said, Lisa.
Okay. Recently in South Africa, there's been situations regarding xenophobia and Nigerians primarily coming there to set up businesses. If South Africans if they were in agreement with U.S. Black Americans coming there to set up businesses, to benefit from the economical situation there and the fact that we have resources. If they were happy about that, then why would they have these events where they're having criminal actions taking place against people that are coming outside of their country, black people coming into their country, setting up businesses from which they themselves can't even benefit in high percentages? Why would they have those events? Why would those things be occurring if they were welcoming of this? I'm just saying, I just feel like Black
Well,
Americans
I'm gonna answer your question.
they need to support countries whereby it is actually helpful and not harmful. We don't want to be played out by these countries where Europeans have a stronghold on them. We don't want to be a part of that. We should go to countries and support countries that are clearly coming out of that process, such as Ghana. Ghana's not being oppressed in the way that South Africa is. Male South Africans do not want other Black immigrants stopping them, because see, what happens is when we come there, we become a buffer, and the whites do not have to deal with the Black Africans there. We need to not meddle in that, because we need to make sure they can deal directly with the South Africans. They have to make amends. They have to make repair. We can't, as long as other Black immigrants come there with their resources, that they are pawns, they are buffers, and they are in the way of South Africans dealing with these what are these Dutch, these people who have a stronghold on their economy. It prevents their progression when they're trying to bring resolve to their issues that are going on in South Africa. We don't need to support them. We need to be somewhere where I think Dynast has the right idea of going to West Africa, the Nigerias. That's a strong, powerful Black nation. And we're not doing anything bad by going in there and seeking opportunity there. But South Africa is not the right place for us to be investing our time and resources. Definitely not. All right. Thank you, Dinah, for taking my call.
No problem. You want to respond to that?
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah. No, I mean she's 100% right when it comes to investing in Africa. I don't care where you invest in Africa, West Africa, North Africa. Anytime you see black people, regardless of what it is, even right there in America, if you see black people, you need to be trying to figure out a way to invest. Try to patronize and all that and uplift. I was that person as well when we owned our businesses. We did our things when I was in the U.S. We had our own Black Chamber of Commerce, and I was one of the founding members of it. So I really do understand that intrinsically. I'm not just reading and talking about it. I actually have done these types of things, and we did very well. That whole Black healthcare arena that we had there in Stafford, Virginia, had a lot to do with me, Dr. Joni Johnson, and a few others. We actually put that together. So I totally get that. When it comes to patronizing Nigeria, Ghana, and everywhere else, if we ain't doing that, then we're wrong. I think a lot of ways that we don't realize as African Americans. I mean, we do have a lot of spending power, but like I said, it goes beyond that. It goes to cultural as well, and that's the whole part that I think that she needed to that she can probably look at as far as the cultures are totally different and so forth. So I get the whole monolithic being black, but sometimes the cultures flat out don't mix. Some of the cultures here in South Africa, with the 11 types of culture they have here, which in Nigeria is way more, but in South Africa, they just don't mix as well as they need to, simply because of, as we do at home. Hey, this was the way I was raised, and they have that here. Number three, when it comes down to, the xenophobia and things like that, I can tell you this: if a black person was coming to my old neighborhood or any neighborhoods that I ever lived in and started selling crack and doing all kind of things, crime, when I'm saying that other people are, but I'm saying hypothetically, then I might have a problem with that. If it was black, white, green, whatever, it just is what it is. And
But Mark, is that always necessarily the case though when it comes to xenophobia? Because I keep hearing
no. I'm just saying from my experience, they don't really know. It's so horrible with the media, and I will say that is because, like, for example, I think her name was Lisa. If she came here tomorrow, she can come here and say exactly what she said, and she doesn't realize because they watch the media. They feel like they know her. So whatever she's saying, if she's saying xenophobia, attacks need to stop, this needs to stop, this we need to do this, they listen. She actually has a voice. Listen to her. They be like, "Oh, you're right." They would listen to her simply because they feel like they know her and she's American. So I think that would be, I would absolutely. I mean, I would absolutely love any sister or brother who has, strong feelings about black relations to come anywhere in Africa, but especially here as well. And like right now, we got a boatload of not just African Americans, because they're not the only ones in the game. There's a lot of Africans or black people from Great Britain reaching out to us as well, and from the UK. There's plenty of people reaching out from the UK.
Let me interrupt. I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I think there is a level of consciousness in the UK that's higher than in black people in America. I'm starting to pick that up. Like black people in the UK are way more, I think, somewhat conscious than black people.
Conversations are different. Like when I'm on the phone talking to somebody from the UK, completely different conversation than us when I'm talking to people from Cali or anywhere in the US. From some of the craziest places, South Dakota. I'm like, what are you doing there? But they there, and they call us, and what they're saying is what they're saying. But when I'm talking to somebody from the UK, totally different response. But I can tell you, we went to this conference where this girl from the UK came. When she was talking to her about her experience as a black person in the UK, me and my wife, we were literally clapping our hands, simply because they had the exact same experience that we had. They just, they're just different with it. That's all.
Okay, guys, we'll take one more caller. Again, we'll take one more caller. Email is uhuru@searchforhuru.com or huru@searchforhuru.com. foruhuru.com. Now, why should I think I already asked I asked this question on a previous show, but I'll ask again. Why
Sure.
should Black Americans consider South Africa, and really, why should Black Americans start the exodus out of America to Africa in general, but then South Africa specifically?
Well, from my perspective, I was watched enough generations as a kid, and then as I got to be a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, and we all, I'm 40 now, I'm 50, that tried to make it, and then here we are, there, we're at the funeral, and they never really got where they wanted to go, and I think part of it, and literally part of it is the fact that when we watch other people from other races, regardless if they're from the Far East or wherever, they always got this component of them going home. There's always this component of knowing who they are, going home, getting with the culture and things along that line. Even here in South Africa, you got people who live in Joburg, like Joburg hard. I mean, they all about GP. That's what they do. But when it's time to go home, they go home. You would say you are African. It didn't matter. No, they go down to the villages where they grew up. My point I'm trying to make to you is I think African Americans need to actually come to Africa, however they get here. And when I say Africa, I didn't say just South Africa, Africa in general, and bathe yourself in what Africa really is, so you can, deal with that in America for one, and number two, have a place that build a relationship of your very own, something that you can't get in America. I don't care how many Africans come to America, you're never going to be able to get Africa. Landing in North Carolina where I grew up, you're just not going to get it. So, and some of your birthrights, at least some of my birthrights, are here, right here in Africa, and that's why I get to do what I do, simply because some of my birthrights here and some of my birthrights in America. So if I put them all together, I'm kind of whole at this point, and I can take advantage of opportunities here. And if an opportunity came over in the U.S., I could take advantage of that as well. So that's just the way I see it. There are those that don't feel that way, and I get it. When you say, we built America. Yeah, I remember.
Here we go. Yeah, we built America.
Yeah.
We married America. We bled.
Listen, but I'm the same guy at 20 years old, standing out there in that desert, shooting guns and doing all that war stuff. I'm the same guy who was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I'm the same guy that did all that. I'm the same guy, and that doesn't go away because I'm sitting here in Africa. It doesn't go away. You need some peace at some point. You can't be constantly, in a constant state of fighting. So we did build America, and it's yours. And also, our ancestors before our ancestors that we identify in America, they built Africa as well. So I'm honestly just taking advantage of what my ancestors left behind for me, those that were enslaved and those that wasn't. That's just the way I see it.
Let's see. Okay, so you addressed the whole "my bones are buried in America." We built America. You covered that. But what about I'm not going to Africa because the Chinese are there, the Lebanese are there, the white folks are there. Like, what about that stalling tactic?
Africa is so big.
Right.
Why would you? I mean, I think people have a romantic idea of Africa, and then when they see a white person, they're like, there are white people there. There's a lot of Europeans that look at America and say, there's black people there? Like, what are they doing there? They're only in Atlanta, and they're showing me Iowa. Why are there black people there? So I mean, you got to kind of look at a big picture and whatnot. That Africa is huge. It's 3 times larger than the United States of America. 3 times. If you was in Northern Africa and to fly to Southern Africa to Cape Town, it's gonna take you 12 hours in a plane, and you will be overland the entire time.
Right.
That's how big Africa is. So you're going to find all races, just like you'll find all races of black people everywhere on every continent. You're going to find white people here as well. You're going to find Asians, and a lot of them come here. They all come here and risk it because it's for them. It's a risk. For you, it's value added, but for them, it's a risk, and they come for one reason and one reason only, because it's extremely nice,
Right.
and they just don't want you to know. So they're going to continue to throw up all kind of barriers. What
Right.
about black and black town? What about this? What about that? And then you stay in America on your job working, 40, 60 hours a week. You just stay, and you
Right.
just you won't even try to relieve yourself. You won't even try. You just stay, and then you wait to some fictitious day when you retire. It is the same day, like some people that you got diagnosed with a chronic disease. I mean, and then all of a sudden
Yeah, it's a wrap.
you never spent one night looking up at that star, and say, "Wow, I'm in Africa."
Right.
You never spent one day in Africa, and you are as melanated as they come. We just had this brother. He's a pastor from South Carolina. We had a long, extended conversation with him yesterday,
Right.
and he's 62 years old, retired. What is it? Retired New York City police, living in. He's a pastor, the whole nine.
Mhm.
And he had that discussion with us. He was like, "I don't want to go out without spending any time in Africa. I don't." And so I think he booked his trip today, just to come. And if he would have booked it to go to Kenya, I would have been happy. If he would have
Right.
booked it to go to Congo, I would have been happy, because you got to come to Africa. And like I said, we're the real South Africa. We specialize down here, for those who want to come. But if somebody says, you know what, I don't want to come to South Africa because of this, and I want to go to Ethiopia, I'd be like, you know what, get to Ethiopia as fast as you can. Don't put it off.
Yeah, because I get the when I retire, I'm gonna go to
Yeah,
Africa when I retire. My bucket
yeah,
list. You know.
yeah. By that time, you can't enjoy it. You can't enjoy it the manner in which you need to enjoy it. So if you can come earlier, the sooner the better. You can absolutely enjoy it. But if you are on your meds, or hey, I got dietary restrictions. Hey, I can't do that because of this. I can't do that because of that. Which is fine. We will do what we got to do, but it's more of an optimum opportunity. Like me, I feel fortunate. I mean, I'm 51 now. I'm still. I mean, I'm not broken just yet. And like I think my wife, she's going because Heritage Day here is Thursday, so she's going to go on a hike with a bunch of South Africans, which is going to be cool. And then next week I'm going on glamping, which is glamorous camping. I'm going, and I can go because I know there's going to be a lot of hiking, a lot of going to see some sights, things along that line. And I'm not over the hill yet, and I can go enjoy myself, and then have good memories and so forth. And I might even make a video and post it on our channel.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.